My sister destroyed my engagement, so I made her watch her ex fall for me, feeling shocked and humiliated while I took control of the situation. My sister Mia has always had this twisted rule. If she can't have her one true love, everyone else must suffer. It started innocently enough in college. One guy she fancied ignored her, and somehow that became the blueprint for chaos. She destroyed friendships, manipulated family, and left people in shambles under the guise of heartbreak. By the time I met Ryan, I knew the drill. I deleted Mia from my social media, avoided family gatherings with him, and told him she needed space. For 2 years, it worked. We were happy, engaged, and careful. Small, intimate wedding plans. Nothing extravagant. My mistake. I mentioned the engagement at Mom's birthday dinner. Mia's eyes lit up like it was Christmas morning. "I'm so happy for you," she said, hugging me with that fake sincerity. I forced a smile. A week later, Ryan showed me his phone. Mia had found him online, using a fake account. Messages, emojis, desperate notes. I laughed at her ridiculousness. Ryan promised to block her, and I thought the nightmare was over. Then, 3 weeks before the wedding, I caught a fever. Ryan, supposed to be at his brother's golf tournament, had gone missing. A friend texted. She saw his car, near Mia's apartment. My chest sank. I drove over, barely holding myself together. Using a spare key Mia had given me for emergencies, I opened the door. They were on her couch, half-dressed, hands tangled in hair. Mia looked up, tears ready. "He reminds me so much of Ethan," she whispered. I stormed out. Ryan didn't resist. I knew then she had to learn the real meaning of loss. Ethan wasn't some random college fling. We'd been following each other for years, mutual likes, occasional comments, but no real conversation. He lived 3 hours away, worked as a physical therapist, posted videos of his golden retriever. I slid into his DMs. "Hey, weird timing, but my sister ruined my wedding. Want to help me ruin her life?" 12 minutes later, he replied, "I'm in." We planned meticulously. Ethan would visit me during the family lunch, the perfect event because Mia never missed it. I hadn't spoken to her since the couch incident, but I knew she'd be there. We rehearsed gestures, laughter, hand-holding, and timing. Ethan's charisma matched mine. He was charming, funny, effortlessly magnetic, the kind Mia couldn't control. By Friday, he arrived. I picked him up, smiled like a woman ready for revenge, and felt the surge of anticipation that only comes from a perfectly executed plan. Saturday, 1 p.m. We parked outside my parents' house. Ethan and I walked in, as if years had passed in a loving relationship. Mia froze mid-laugh with my uncle. I introduced Ethan casually. "Everyone, this is Ethan." Lightning seemed to strike her. She went white, then red, forcing a laugh. "Ethan, wow, what a coincidence." He smiled politely, calm, confident. Mia's control shattered. I sat beside him, hand in hand, letting her watch every interaction she once thought she could manipulate. Mia tried to recover. She whispered, stammered, made excuses, but Ethan's presence made her words crumble. He laughed gently at a shared joke, leaned close, and looked at me with genuine affection. Every eye in the room noticed the chemistry she had longed for, something she had tried and failed to manufacture countless times. Dinner passed in quiet tension. Mia's attempts to join conversations were rebuffed politely, but firmly by Ethan. I kept my composure, smiling, laughing at subtle moments, showing ease and confidence. Mia's eyes darted between Ethan and me, each glance revealing the silent agony of jealousy and defeat. She realized painfully that she had lost, not to manipulation, but to authentic connection and timing. She shifted in her seat, pretending to check her phone, her breathing shallow. Her face was pale. She kept her hands clasped tightly in her lap, knuckles white. I could see her internal panic as she realized the man she had once thought she could control now belonged entirely to me, and there was nothing she could do about it. The little smirk she usually wore as she sabotaged others' happiness was gone. This was different. This was humiliation without escape. I noticed my parents exchanging glances, uncomfortable at Mia's unusual silence. My mother tried to intervene subtly, nudging Mia toward conversation, but Ethan's charm and calmness blocked every attempt. He was deliberate, respectful, engaging with me, laughing at things only I could say, making every gesture intimate yet casual. It was perfection. At one point, Mia leaned slightly toward me, whispering something about a family story, trying to regain footing, but Ethan gently placed his hand over mine and smiled. "I love hearing about these memories," he said warmly, meeting my eyes. Mia froze, unsure whether to laugh or protest. Her lips twitched, and she swallowed hard. The room seemed to slow down around her. All the years of her self-assured manipulation and entitled scheming had culminated in this single moment of impotence. I could feel my own pulse steady. No fury, no shouting, no need to gloat. I simply existed, fully present and completely unshaken. Ethan's hand held mine, a quiet symbol of victory. We had created an almost theatrical tableau, yet it felt real, effortless, completely believable. Every subtle touch, every shared glance, every tiny laugh sent waves through Mia's carefully constructed mask. As the main course arrived, Mia tried again to interject, pointing out a childhood memory that involved both Ethan and her, attempting to claim relevance. He smiled politely, nodded, but immediately redirected the conversation to me. Each time she opened her mouth, I could see the internal calculations. How do I regain control? What do I say? The more she tried, the smaller her presence became in the room. By dessert, her defeat was undeniable. She picked at her plate, silent, the aura of superiority completely gone. Her ex-fantasies, her entitlement, her obsession with controlling others' happiness, it all evaporated in the face of the simple, powerful truth. Ethan had chosen me. There was nothing she could do to reverse it. The subtle irony was exquisite. Mia, who had orchestrated chaos and crushed relationships to soothe her own envy, was now powerless. She had spent years believing she could manipulate people, and yet here she was, watching someone she once thought she could control, genuinely in love with me. The thrill of revenge wasn't loud or dramatic. It was the quiet satisfaction of seeing reality finally align with justice. Every laugh I shared with Ethan, every glance we exchanged, reinforced her loss. She tried to look indifferent, tried to mask her humiliation with fake smiles, but her eyes betrayed her. The slow burn of realization, her helplessness, her jealousy, her inability to influence, was visible in every micro-expression. For the first time, she was forced to feel what losing truly meant, without any excuses, without any easy escape. And all the while, I remained composed, confident, smiling. Not cruelly, not out of malice, but because the moment itself was complete, perfect. Mia had learned, in those few hours, that happiness cannot be stolen, and that manipulation only works until it meets genuine connection. By the evening, Mia was slouched on the couch, silent, watching Ethan and me interact. The room hummed with family chatter, yet her focus was only on the one person she had wanted to possess, and now couldn't. She was trapped in a cage of her own making, a spectator to a reality she had longed to control. Every laugh I shared with Ethan, every whispered joke, every playful glance was amplified by her silence. It was almost cinematic, the predator reduced to a powerless observer. I noticed how she shifted uncomfortably in her seat, pretending to be interested in her phone, scrolling aimlessly, but her gaze kept snapping back to us. Ethan leaned close, murmuring something that made me laugh quietly. My laughter wasn't loud, it wasn't a taunt. It was effortless, authentic. And every smile, every casual touch, every small gesture was a silent dagger, a reminder that she could never replicate or manipulate what we shared. Mia tried to interject occasionally, attempting to contribute to our conversation, but Ethan's calm attentiveness to me subtly blocked every effort. He was charming, warm, confident, everything Mia thought she could bend to her will, but now entirely out of her reach. Each time she opened her mouth, her words faltered. Her attempts to reclaim control, to inject herself into the narrative, fell flat. The room was no longer hers, it was ours. I could see the panic in her eyes as she tried to maintain a facade. That controlled, knowing smirk she usually wore, the one that warned others she was about to destroy their happiness, was gone. It had been replaced by a tense, forced smile and occasional fidgeting, signs of a mind frantically searching for a way to regain lost ground. There was nothing she could do. She had lost the game before it had even started, and she knew it. The family noticed too, subtly at first, glancing back and forth. My parents exchanged uneasy looks. My father's brow furrowed, while my mother's lips pressed into a thin line. Even relatives who had once admired Mia's confidence seemed to sense the shift, the imbalance of power. The air was charged with tension, unspoken but undeniable. I sat calmly, sipping my drink, laughing quietly at a shared memory with Ethan, completely in control. As dessert arrived, she barely touched it, her mind fixed on us. Ethan leaned closer, whispered something soft in my ear, and I laughed quietly, a sound so natural and unforced that it made her flinch. Every casual touch, every glance, every shared inside joke reminded her of her impotence. She had spent years believing she could manipulate people, steal joy, and bend reality to her will. Now she had to watch as someone she had never truly known, someone she had long fantasized about, genuinely loved me. Mia's face, usually so expressive, now told a story she couldn't hide. A mixture of disbelief, jealousy, and resignation. She was witnessing the ultimate consequence of her own actions. The world she had tried to control was thriving without her influence. The man she once obsessed over, the power she craved, the control she believed she deserved, all gone, all in plain sight. By the time the evening ended, it was clear. Mia had learned something she couldn't undo. Love cannot be manufactured, happiness cannot be stolen, and control can slip through your fingers faster than you realize. Ethan and I left that night hand in hand, quiet smiles exchanged, a perfect balance of satisfaction and calm. Mia stayed behind, a silent witness to a reality she could never claim, powerless in the face of what she had lost. By the end of the evening, Mia's defeat was undeniable. She slouched in the corner of the living room, silent, watching Ethan and me interact. Her usual confidence, the aura of entitlement, the smirk she wore when she plotted to ruin others, was gone. Each laugh we shared, every whispered joke, every glance exchanged felt like a quiet hammer, driving home the reality she couldn't escape. She realized fully that the man she had long fantasized about and tried to manipulate was now entirely mine. She shifted in her seat, fidgeting with her hands, pretending to check her phone, but her eyes never left us. I noticed the small signs of panic, shallow breaths, slight tremors of her fingers, her lips pressed together tightly. It was exquisite, the subtle, undeniable evidence of her helplessness. All those years of scheming, of trying to control others' happiness, of sabotaging relationships to satiate her jealousy, culminated in this moment of complete impotence. I kept my composure, calm and smiling, perfectly natural. Ethan leaned close, whispered something that made me laugh quietly, a soft laugh that wasn't meant to taunt but to show ease and authenticity. And that authenticity, that effortless connection, was the ultimate contrast to Mia's forced, artificial presence. Every subtle gesture, every casual touch, every inside joke highlighted the gap between real love and the hollow fantasy Mia had always tried to impose on the world. Mia tried one last time to reclaim attention. She attempted to interject with a story, hoping to weave herself into our conversation, but Ethan's polite smile and gentle redirection toward me silenced her. Her jaw tightened, and I could see the faint exhale of frustration. That subtle, almost imperceptible moment of acknowledgement, her failure, was priceless. I glanced around the room and noticed my family's reactions. My parents exchanged tense glances, aware of the power shift. Relatives who had always been impressed with Mia's confidence now sensed her disempowerment. The air was thick with unspoken tension. Yet I remained calm, enjoying the scene quietly, savoring the knowledge that I didn't need to speak harshly or attack. The moment itself carried the lesson. Every detail mattered, the way Ethan looked at me, the way he laughed at things only I could understand, the natural intimacy that Mia could not manipulate. Each small act reminded her of her impotence. She had spent years believing she could control outcomes, bend people to her will, and orchestrate events for her own satisfaction. Now she had no control, no leverage, no path to reclaim her desired outcome. Dessert came and went, and Mia barely touched it, absorbed entirely in our presence. She was a silent observer to her own failure, powerless to alter what she had set in motion. It was a quiet, devastating lesson. The world doesn't bend to entitlement, and happiness cannot be stolen. The man she obsessed over, the influence she craved, the power she believed she deserved, all had slipped through her fingers. I didn't gloat, I didn't speak in triumph. I simply existed, fully present, confident, and joyous. Ethan and I shared private smiles, whispered jokes, and held hands casually, demonstrating the effortless bond Mia could never replicate. Her defeat wasn't loud or public. It was subtle, complete, and permanent. She was forced to witness the outcome of her actions without a single way to intervene. By the time the night ended, Ethan and I left together, hand in hand, hearts light, the satisfaction quiet but absolute. Mia remained behind, a powerless witness to a reality she could never influence, unable to manipulate, unable to possess. She had learned the true meaning of losing, not just a man, but control, influence, and the fantasy of entitlement. The evening had become a lesson etched into her memory, one she could never erase. The night ended, and Mia left without a word. Her shoulders slumped, her usual energy gone, her mask of confidence shattered. She had no excuses left, no justification for her actions. She had spent years manipulating people, orchestrating chaos, and claiming entitlement over happiness. But now she was forced to face the one truth she could never deny. She had lost. I didn't need to celebrate or taunt her. The moment itself was complete. Ethan and I walked home hand in hand, the city lights reflecting off the pavement like small celebrations of our victory. We didn't need loud declarations. Our quiet joy, the subtle intimacy between us, spoke louder than any words could. Each laugh we shared, each glance, each soft touch was a testament to what Mia could never disrupt or control. For the first time, I truly felt free. Not just from her interference, but from the weight of her entitlement and obsession. The days that followed were equally telling. Mia tried to reach out to Ryan, hoping to salvage some fragment of influence, but he had long since blocked her. Friends and family subtly noticed the change in her demeanor, the quiet humiliation that clung to her like a shadow. She had always believed she could bend the world to her will, that the happiness of others was hers to manipulate. Now she was powerless, a mere spectator to the life she could never claim. I didn't revel in cruelty. I simply lived, embraced, and flourished. Ethan and I continued our lives together, fully present and fully engaged with each other, leaving Mia to wrestle with the consequences of her own actions. Every plan she had schemed, every attempt to sabotage, every manipulation, it had all been in vain. True connection, authenticity, and patience had prevailed. Looking back, I realized that the greatest satisfaction wasn't in seeing Mia suffer, but in knowing that I had reclaimed control over my life. I didn't react with anger or vengeance. I responded with strategy, calmness, and integrity. That combination, more than any dramatic confrontation, ensured her defeat. She had underestimated me, just as she underestimated the power of honesty, preparation, and genuine connection. The final lesson was clear. You can't force people to love you. You can't control happiness. And true power isn't in manipulation. It's in calm, confident action and letting the universe reveal the truth. Mia had spent years believing she could take what she wanted. For once, she couldn't. By the time I closed my eyes that night, I felt a profound sense of peace. The chaos she once brought into my life was gone. The man she coveted, the influence she craved, the control she thought she deserved, they all belonged where they should have been, with me. Mia had learned her lesson, and I had finally reclaimed my life, my love, and my happiness. The victory was quiet, subtle, and absolute.